really the goal is just to use our stories to bring veterinary medicine to life for the pet caretakers of the world. And we're doing it because we believe that educating these caretakers is the most powerful thing that we can do to improve the life quality of all of the pets that we love. Hey, everybody. It's Vet Tales. This is Dr. Natalie Keith. It is not just any Vet Tale episode, though, because I have my very first ever outside guest, outside of the staff of Northside Veterinary Hospital. I am bringing to you the one and only Missy Williams. She has been a drug rep with me forever. I'll let her go into a little bit about that. Not that you're a drug rep now. We just covered that. But she is a representative for IDEXX, which is a powerhouse company providing us with so many wonderful diagnostic tools so we can figure out what is wrong with your pet. So, Missy, tell us about you and us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me so much. Yeah, we've been doing this for a hot minute.
Yeah.
IDEXX only for about 6 years, but, with my previous company that you and I dealt with a lot of parasiticides, we talked about this topic all the time.
I know. Yeah, so you just switched from the preventing it to the diagnosing it side of all of these things we're going to talk about today with, like you were, saying parasites or however we want to classify all that. Vectors. Yeah. Vector-Borne diseases.
What's your vector, Victor? You got that one?
Oh, that's fun though.
Yeah, but you know what that's from?
No.
Because you do the movie thing.
I do the movie thing. Is it
anybody over the age of 50 that's got?
Because I feel like it has to do with the car smoky. No. Damn, give me a clue.
It's slapstick.
Oh, I'm never gonna get it then.
It's Airplane.
Oh yeah. So I am aware of Airplane. I watched bits and pieces of it when I was younger, but I just can't do slapstick.
It's so good.
I know. Some people. We were actually just having a conversation about this movie the other day, a friend and I. So anyway, so vectors, yes, vector-borne diseases, and specifically the test that IDEXX provides for us for that, which is the 4DX, which is game changer.
Right.
Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Sure.
And I just don't want this to be lost on people that this is a 13-year relationship we have. She made me bring Max today, my dog, because she hadn't seen him lately.
Well, I missed his 13th birthday. Like I remember when you got him.
I know. If you guys are at all into Facebook with Northside Veterinary Hospital, you should go see Max's birthday party. And Bethany, my office manager, did this really adorable video because he's a gray bully. And she does this and he's got a white chest. It's this soundtrack that sounds very Jaws-esque as he's coming up to launch his cupcake into his mouth and then gullets it. It was crazy.
That's so funny.
Anyway, but let's get back to work. 4DXs. Let's talk about it. You start. Tell people what is a 4DX test.
Okay, sure thing. So 4DX test is a really quick in-house blood test. So when your pet parent is in the room with you and you take the dog's back, is that what you have your snap readers, right? They're not in the room?
Well, yeah. We draw the blood usually in the room.
Okay.
But yes, the snap readers are in the back.
Okay. So it's a very non-invasive, short little blood test.
3 drops of blood.
Yep. And it screens for heartworm disease, Lyme disease, 2 strains of Ehrlichia, and 2 strains of anaplasmosis as well. And I did mention Lyme disease. We don't deal with that very much in Oklahoma.
If they're traveling, maybe. But I don't know. I think it was actually in the article you sent me. And it was talking about Lyme's been diagnosed in all 50 states.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really dive into the odds of those dogs actually having contracted it here.
We just had one in one of our other clinics, actually in the Norman area, and it was a dog that was in transit.
Yeah. And so I think that's typically
you're in Michigan.
Yeah, because it is the white-footed mouse, black-footed mouse, something white-footed mouse. Anyway,
I would never live that far north, so I have no.
You don't know some varmint that we don't have here in Oklahoma.
That's right.
So because we don't have that intermediary host, we don't have Lyme disease in Oklahoma.
Right.
So, but the rest of these things, for sure,
for real, and especially with the climate that we have right now. I mean, we are Ireland times 100 degrees and 85% humidity.
I mean, listen, I just moved this spring to a new neighborhood that has a lot of trees and things like that. So maybe that's part of it. But I have never seen mosquitoes like I have seen this.
Horrible.
It's awful. I feel like I'm under attack when I go to water my plants. It's, so we cut out bushes. We went to extreme measure. I was like, no, I'm going to do potted plants because I think that they're hiding behind these bushes, but they're awful. Yeah. And the vectors being mosquitoes and ticks are really what we're talking about today. And it's bad right now.
Right. And I know you guys do really good education about, my dog doesn't go go outside that much, or my cat doesn't go outside ever. I mean, a mosquito can get in the house in 2
There's
seconds.
some mosquito species in Oklahoma that live strictly indoors. They thrive indoors. They will breed indoors.
Right.
You're never safe. I mean, I tell people this, and it's so off color. It really is. It's terrible that I say it, but I do it all the time because people laugh. I tell them, they're like, well, my dog's an inside dog. And I'm like, well, I'm an inside person. I get bit by mosquitoes, and I don't even go to the bathroom outside. Like, literally, your dog is exposed no matter where they live, or cats even, because this affects cats too.
Right. And this is a really good conversation between you and your staff and your pet parents to know the dog's environment, if it's a multi-pet household, if there are children in the house, because a lot of these infections that can be transmitted to these pets can also be transmitted to humans.
Yeah. So, luckily not heartworms, but the tick ones.
Yeah,
sure.
For sure. Yep.
In fact, I think people can be more susceptible to certain ones of the tick-borne diseases.
Yep, you're totally right. Yeah, so it's all about communication with your veterinarian on what your household looks like and what your dog does during the day. Does he swim? Does he run through the grass? I mean, I'm terrified right now. I mean, we've got prevention on. We've got Seresto collars, and we use, something else for heartworms and intestinal parasites. But I got one that's a swimmer. And then he goes running out through the tall grass. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified.
And a lot of those tick preventions, they're killing when the tick bites. And the idea is that they're going to die before disease is transmitted. But none of these products are 100%. So even if you have your dog on the best prevention, or some people in really heavily tick-infested areas, they'll do the Seresto collar and an oral another something else. You'll still get a tick bite here or there because nothing's 100%. So you've got to be screening these.
Right. And a lot of the oral treatments, there's not really and you may know, I'm a little bit out of this part of the industry, but there's not a set time from a time a tick takes a blood meal to start passing the infection back and forth. I mean, they could feed for 5 or 10 minutes and then fall off and die, and that could have already been transmitted, or they
there's so much gray area just in what we know about how long these diseases actually take to transmit.
Right.
So we know that the less time, the better, but ultimately, any pet could be at risk.
Yeah, for sure.
So, luckily, the heartworms, though, if you're doing your heartworm preventions right, they're extremely effective.
Right.
But ticks are the scary one.
And this is where it all started, too. And I can share a little bit of history of myself. I mean, I've been in the industry about 30 years, so I'm dating myself clearly.
It's okay, yeah.
Clearly. Back in the day where we dusted our dog with 7 Dust, and we'd go to the feed store for the permethrin dip bath and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But, we had a dog that tested positive for heartworms, and he was 10 years old. It was late 80s. We knew nothing about it. He did not survive the arsenic treatment.
Yeah, that was arsenic.
It was awful. It was awful. And so, then you move into flare bits. We were laughing about that the other day.
Yeah.
But, the products, all these companies do such a great job on research. And yes, some of them are pricey, but they keep getting better and better and better.
Right.
And so, the conversation with your pet owners, and I, really want to speak this to the pet parents. I'm sure the veterinarians do this job correctly, but when you're talking about taking a monthly prevention, that needs to be 30 days. Because if you give something on June the 1st, and then your mind says monthly, and you give it on July 31st, you've opened about a 4-week window where something can be transmitted.
Right. Yeah. And that is not going to cut it. A lot of these products, the heartworms especially, they are not staying in the dog's system for the full 30 days. They are just cleaning out any baby heartworms the dog might have acquired during the time since his last pill. And because of the larval lifespan, or how long it takes from a microflaria, the little babies in the blood, to turn into a larvae, you have a limited amount of time. So being more than a week past due is a big deal, which is why I like Cohort. I mean, I support lots of different products. We do a lot of different products.
They're all great.
But ProHeart for me, because I'm busy, trying to deal with running a business and doing my doctoring, and I got kids, and, life is busy, and I'll forget. So ProHeart is just one and done. You give it a shot, you don't have to worry about it. But your flea and tick stuff, after that 30-day mark, it is rapidly dropping off in effectiveness. And then not only are you exposing your pet to potentially higher risk of getting a longer attachment of these tick bites, but you're also teaching tough ticks how to survive that drug. And that's how resistance develops over, not in a month or two, but over a decade.
Right.
And that's why a lot of the products we used to use, can't use now. Plus, we have safer ones now.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Anyway, that was a little tangent on don't forget to give your products on time every 30 days.
Yeah, it's important. It's important to remember for sure. And, the big scare, like I said, it all started with heartworm.
Mm-hmm.
And then, some of the newer products came on the market, like Frontline and Canine Advantix, and that was just really focusing on flea and tick.
Yeah.
And, those were repellency topicals. And long before the oral started coming onto the market, but, everyone's fear was heartworms because that treatment was so terrible. I mean, it's much, much better, but it's still very, I know you guys follow American Heartworm Society.
Absolutely. All the guidelines. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a long, very expensive process. So, part of this call is we're not taking away from the importance of heartworms because it is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But, with the state of Oklahoma, we are not immune to any tick.
In fact, we might be like one of the most popular places in the United States if you're a tick. Like, where do you want to be? You want to be in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And we have them all.
Right.
So it's definitely, I think we should definitely go into this about Northside's journey into the 40X.
Yeah.
You want to do that now? I'm ready to shame Northside a little bit.
Okay.
We can't we were trying to remember before we went recording how many years it's been. I really feel like it's 5 because I know Dr. Goodall was here, and so it couldn't have been more than 7, but I know it was before the tornado.
Before the tornado, yeah. I'm going to say at least 3 or 4.
Yeah, let's say 4 for argument's sake, and then later we'll look it up and see if we can figure it out.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, at that time we were just doing heartworms because the thought was, if you have an asymptomatic dog, and this is thought as in historical, we know better now, but at the time we really didn't. It was coming to our awareness. What we thought was, if you test a dog for Ehrlichia specifically, because that's what we have the most of in Oklahoma versus the anaplasma or certainly Lyme, and you get this positive dog, it's an antibody test. An antibody means that it's been exposed, but we don't know if there's active infection.
Right.
And so then we got really confused about what to do with that data. Because if the dog is healthy, because by the way, these tests are being run on healthy dogs 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're screening for diseases to treat before they're dying of the disease is the idea. So you go, well, what do I do with that information? Do I care? And at the time we thought, if the dog's not sick, no, I don't care. So what do I care if it has the dog? So then, Missy, will you please enlighten us? What did we learn? What did we learn as a veterinary industry?
So I actually knew our IDEXX rep at the time, and I think we were doing a heartworm prevention month thing.
Yes.
And so our company offers, they're called See What You're Missing trials. And they're for everything. They're for preventive care for 40X fecals. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Nope. That's a different podcast.
Don't
reel it in.
So anyway, we basically did a 90-day trial where we gave your practice 40X tests.
To run alongside. Did we run alongside?
We did for about 5 days and then just ditched it.
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah, you just ditched it. And so, the sales of me is coming out a little bit. I was creeping around on Vet Connect Plus. I'm like, there's an Ehrlichia positive. There's an Ehrlichia positive.
Yeah.
Ehrlichia positive. And so we share what's called CAPC data with our clinics. I encourage every vet practice, everybody in their vet practice, and every pet parent to go to capcvet.org, and that stands for the Companion Animal Parasite Council. And there is
literally CAPC.
Yep. There is a prevalence map. So click on your state, wherever you're listing from, and click on your county, and then you can pull down whether it's, canine, feline. So right now I actually have just this year for our county, which I cannot pronounce.
Potawatomi.
Thank you. So 1 in 5 dogs, which is coming out to be about almost 19%. Testing positive for Ehrlichia. Yeah,
and since we've started this, that statistic stays really, really similar. It'll be anywhere from 17 to 21% year to year. So it always shakes out to roughly 1 in 5 dogs.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah. And so let's just play with this for 1 second. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're going to scare me, aren't you?
No, but my computer is slow. So hold on. Let's go look at heartworms. So if we were just testing for heartworms in the same county... It's 1 in 20.
1 in 20 dogs. But then here's the kicker. That's only the dogs that are getting tested. And then you take, I had a dog, this is a vet tale for you. I had a dog come in last Monday. I don't remember. It wasn't very long ago. A Great Pyrenees, very cool guy. He has a sister at home that will be coming in next week. And he had been bit by a snake on his elbow. So he needed some help, which was fine. And then I said, hey, is he on heart prevention? She goes, oh, no, we don't really have heartworms. And I said, cool. I mean, but like you do have heartworms. Can I just check him? No, not today. I was like, okay, what if I do it for free? And she said, I mean, I guess so. That's fine. So I just did a dye field check. So basically all I did was I took a drop of blood or microfilaria check, dropped it onto the slide, looked under a microscope, and there were all the little babies swimming around. So that dog didn't make it onto your capsule. And so there are more dogs. My point is that there are way more dogs than 1 in 20 in Pot County that are positive. Those are just the ones that are getting a proper test and entered into the system through this plan. Because if they're not getting put through SNAP systems and they're not integrating their software, if they're doing just slide checks, if they're using a different kind of test altogether, there may not be any data of that. And that's just the dogs that actually get in and people get them to test them. So it's I've heard estimated they believe that it's more like around 1 in 8 dogs actually has heartworms. It's just, these are the ones getting tested.
So, and this is what I pulled up for the full year for 2024 is 1 in 50, because obviously we're only at July right now for heartworms.
Yeah.
So let's see what the Ehrlichia look like. Tick-borne, and this website's a lot of fun just to play around on it.
It's fun just to click the map and watch the colors change, really. So.
You're really amused.
So
let's see what the heartworm 1 in 6. No, that's
Ehrlichia.
That's Ehrlichia.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
it's a bunch.
It is. Yeah, and it's like that's the lowest percentage I've seen, and it says 16. So it's just wildly common for these dogs to be positive. So if we're not treating the dot and the antibody, why do I care? Why do I care if this dog's Ehrlichia positive?
So with a tick bite, you don't know when this exposure happened.
Right.
It can be 2 days, 2 months, 2 years, right?
Yep.
So what the recommendation is, if you get a positive Ehrlichia case, and I'll let you use your doctor words about this, here in a second, some routine blood work, chemistry, CBC at a bare minimum, because we're looking for kidney values. We're looking to see if that dog, now I would recommend, and this is, to each veterinarian on their own, if it's the first exposure, do you do doxy?
No, typically not. If they're not causative for heartworms, because a lot of times they have both.
Right.
But if it's just Ehrlichia, then we just move into screening. And if all the screening tests are normal, then we do not do doxy.
Gotcha.
Why is it recommended that we should be?
There's a lot of people go ahead and do if they're
just to make them feel
if they're symptomatic.
Yeah.
And those symptoms would be, vomiting, diarrhea,
lameness, lethargy.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird things. So if the dog came in because they don't feel well and I find Ehrlichia, then yes.
Okay.
Especially if I can't figure out what it really was. Like let's say it was like a prostatitis or something.
Sure.
Then you go, okay, well, I need to treat that. But if I'm like, man, everything else looks good, the only thing I have is this Ehrlichia, then yes, in that case, we would treat. But if it's like a wellness that comes in for just our vaccines, we're updating the test, it's completely fine dog. All the screening tests are normal, then typically we just monitor.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, the like we were talking about, the CAPC infectious disease experts recommend a complete blood count. So that's a CBC, a chemistry panel, in many cases, quantitative titer. You mentioned follow-up PCR too. I think also if you see the elevated creatinine B1 and definitely SDMA, which we'll get into that in a second, I would suggest a urine sediment as well.
Yeah, and what we usually do is kind of a pick and choose on it depending on the dog. So we might do like an NSAID clip, an SDMA, or just an SDMA, a CBC, and a UA, because these people are just like, wait, what? And the dog's healthy, so we just, okay, what are the most important things? I'm worried about 2 things, really. I'm worried about acute disease, which is going to cause coagulopathies, elevation in white count, decrease in the platelets, decrease in the red blood cells. So that's what your CBC is for. And then we're worried about the kidneys because of IDEXX is such a powerhouse of data. They're able to look at, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but what I understood to have happened was essentially they were able to retroactively look and say, okay, look, isn't this interesting? If we take dogs who have Ehrlichia versus dogs who don't have Ehrlichia, positive tests at some point in this game, and we look at them at the ages of 7 and on, these dogs that had Ehrlichia went into renal failure 200% more of the time.
Yep.
And because they were able to look at all this data, they're able to draw this correlation and say, okay, well, we understand now because there's nothing else that's really standing out unique amongst these dogs that are kidney failure versus not kidney failure, other than these ones all had Ehrlichia. And from there, we were able to begin testing and find out that, yes, indeed, we confirmed Ehrlichia increases the risk of renal failure later in life by over 200%. So that is why we now know when we used to just think, do we treat the dot?
Right.
Well, now we know we need to be paying attention to these dogs' kidneys at a younger age more attentively, because renal disease can be managed.
Yes.
If you catch it before it's too late.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's the take home on Ehrlichia and their recommendations for these screening tests.
Right, right. And I'll tell you, I'll share a story. It makes me a little crazy. My friend, I told her I asked permission if I could share this. So we were visiting at the lake last weekend, and she has a veterinarian that does 4DX. And I said, well, let's just call him Blue. Let's look at Blue's blood work.
Blue's the dog.
Okay. Blue's the dog. Blue's positive for Ehrlichia.
Sure.
So I asked my friend, I was like, did your veterinarian talk to you about a special diet or, any more blood work? And she was like, well, no, because he seems fine. And he's had it for like 3 years. I'm like,
right.
My gosh. And, I love Blue. So,
you want the best for Blue.
I want the best for Blue. And so I think sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, keeping a healthy dog is expensive if it's done correctly.
It can be.
It can be.
Although I will say an ounce of prevention is always worth a pound of cure. Yep. So a quick little, I think our entire workup on Ehrlichia, I rarely talk about money on the podcast because everybody's so different and how they test things. But here at Northside, with all the tests we were talking about, it's about $75,
okay, give or take,
to just, snapshot these. And then if anything flags, we'll dig a little deeper.
Gotcha.
But that could save you $750, a month later in medicines or something like that, if we could just do the screening once a year to make sure that Blue's blood work isn't changing year to year.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Gives them trending graphs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good baseline. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I just think overall, SDMA wasn't taught in vet school a long time ago. Did you
no, it wasn't out yet. Okay. I would say, how long has it been? 10 years. And I've only been out 15. And so, I remember learning, how I know about SDMA? I will tell you, because you were still the bear rep at the time. But there's a dog, named Max. And he comes to work with me every day. And they brought in the machine. And they were like, we need a normal dog to test blood work and show what's going on. And he wasn't normal. He wasn't normal. He was 5. And he's 13. So that fast math, that means 8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago is when we brought SDMA out. So it's probably been at 10 because, who knows how long it took to matriculate. I don't know, maybe it was right after that. But we might have been right on the ball. Who knows? Either way, the point of the story is Max is how I know about SDMA because he has diabetes insipidus. I thought he was going into renal failure. I panicked for like a full 3 months, but he just has diabetes insipidus. It's fine. It's fine. But anyway, so SDMA.
Yeah. So can you say it?
No, wait, hold on. Yes. Supercalifragilistic. Expialidocious.
Because you're Heather for glomerular.
Symmetric dimethylarginine.
That's pretty close.
Was I?
That was good.
You do it.
I can't. Symmetric dimethylarginine.
Larginine. I was like, is it ginine or ginine? I bet you're right. Dimethylarginine.
So that's why we go with SDMA and GFR. It's just easier to say.
Glomerular filtration rate.
That's
so hard. Anyway.
That is funny.
Okay, so SDMA, here we go. Tell us about it.
So it's a test when creatinine and BUN might be a little bit off, and those are, markers for kidney disease. If you run an SDMA test and it is elevated, that means there's something wrong. And it's looking at the kidneys from the inside out it detects it early on. So
right.
Like you had talked about before, once you've got 75% damage of it, you can't undo it.
Yeah.
But if you step in early enough, you're like, okay, this SDMA is showing high. We need to intervene now.
Right.
It usually starts with a diet, veterinary choice of medication, but the monitoring is the main thing.
It really is. It's the tip off. Mm-hmm. So if your SDMA is fine, the odds of anything being wrong with your kidney is basically zilch. But like we were talking about with butane and creatinine, you have to have basically 75% kidney function loss to lose specific gravity concentration. So the dog's ability to concentrate its urine, then you have to have 66% loss. But SCMA is like 15, which, you know, so you could just be having a kidney that got just a gut punch that day, and it may be nothing and you just need to monitor it. But if it's normal, it's normal. If it's not, you need to pay attention.
Right.
That's how we use SDMA.
Right. Yeah, we have some vet-facing detailers that have a picture of the kidneys with the beats on them.
Yeah.
And it's like listing kidneys from the inside.
Yeah.
So it's what your kidneys aren't telling you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regular blood work. So
yeah, because it's just absolutely pathetic to think that we couldn't tell there was anything wrong with the kidney until 75% of it's shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we can give one away. Because your body can mask the loss of kidney function for a very long time.
Right.
But then if that disease process is still happening and going on, you just lose more and more and more, and you're way behind.
Right. Right. So yeah, it's really about the routine blood work on their annual exam, you know, checking for the vectors that are really prevalent in your area, which obviously, you know, heartworm for sure, but tick, the prevalence for tick is like 3 times higher.
Yeah.
So that was a quick switch for you guys. I mean, you were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was night and day, especially because you came in and did the lunch and learn on the reason why we should care about the dot. And that changed everything. And then it took us, like you said, about 5 days of looking and seeing how many dots we had. And we were like, oh dear.
Yeah. And if it's my dog, I'd want to know.
Right. And because also you need to know that these ticks are obviously in your area, and you could be getting exposed to tick-borne diseases too, because these ticks are there and they are carrying diseases.
So I have a question for you. So pet parents may not know this. Oh my gosh, Missy words. Aside from Lyme disease, there's no vaccine. If your dog is exposed to Anaplasma or Ehrlichia, and those are 2 tick diseases that can be transmitted to humans.
Right.
Is there a vaccine for that if we're exposed?
I had no idea. You know, my favorite saying in veterinary medicine, when people ask me about it, they say, is that like in people? I go, oh, that's the one species I'm not responsible for. I try to learn as little as possible so that I don't have to answer questions like that way.
We need to find the answer to that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know. I don't think so. So your question is, are there human vaccines for these tick-borne? I just don't think so.
I don't either.
I am 100% sure my doctor would have mentioned it by now, especially to me. As a veterinarian, you know what I mean?
No, it's worth a Google.
Like he talks about lepto. We've talked about lepto, but I don't think so.
Yeah. Maybe that's what.
And we can't take the chewables either, which is just a bummer.
One other thing too, just I always have to say this. I mean, we have a plan maybe for a whole nother podcast on cats, but cats are not little dogs. Heather will get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heather, by the way, is our inventory manager, and she handles all of the lab stuff, and she handles all direct communications with our representatives. So
she's the best.
Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how lucky we are.
Well, what had happened was y'all just switched over to 40X, and you had a couple of new staff members, and they were running 40X on cats.
Oh, no, they were not.
Yeah. And she would she'd send me a picture of it, and she's like, help. And I'm like, put up a sign. Cats are not little dogs.
Yeah.
So with your preventions, please, please, please do not score a dog NexGard or dog Brevecto and give it to your cat. Do not use a topical that's for a dog and cut it in half and use it on your cat, especially if it's, a metocloprid based. I mean, it can be dangerous.
I mean, it can be fatal.
Yeah.
And even like, some of the over-the-counter, like at the feed store brands, especially anything with permethrin or pyrethroids in them, I can't tell you how many cats that we've had to try to... Yeah, they go into full body tremors, and we have to hospitalize them and put them on muscle relaxers and Valium, and it's awful. Cats are so sensitive, so use a good product. We do like Frontline for an over-the-counter, Seresto collars, love, not the other flea and tick collars, full stop, period.
Yeah.
Exclamation point.
Hard pass.
Yes.
Hard pass. Yeah.
I mean, good talk.
Yeah. Side talks with cats, again, that's a whole nother thing, but.
Which we do have at least one episode on.
Yeah.
Podcast.
You already did that. Yeah. That's where it started, and now it's freaking everywhere. I mean, are you seeing a fair amount of it still?
Of the talk of people putting on the wrong stuff?
No, of cats with side talks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, we're probably at 5 this summer. Already? I know. No. Yeah, sometimes I had one live for no good reason. I just literally was just treating symptoms, and it just happened to survive. But even I called Dr. Ritchie, the dean at OSU now. Very excited for him.
That's awesome, right? Yeah.
A good buddy of mine from way back. I probably reference him on every fourth podcast at least. But anyway, so I called him the other day and I was like, what is your survival rate with this? And he's like, still like almost none.
Mm-hmm.
In the lab, they can get really high survival rates, like 80% or something, but not in actual practice still. In Louisiana, survival rates are much higher, but they think it's because of the strain of cytox is different.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. They're like either A, the cats are just like mutated to handle it, or B, the strain has mutated to not kill the cat. But they have like wildly high successful survival rates with the atovaquone and azithromycin and all that stuff that they use. So
it's good.
Anyway,
That's
yeah.
good.
But here, bad news bears.
Yeah, bad news. Mm-hmm. Not just bobcats, cats everywhere.
Yes. I mean, the bobcats are fine.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. They don't care. They just host that little rickettsial agent all day long, or whatever that is. I guess it's more like a protozoa.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So there's, there's a lot of good resources for clinics. I feel like we should do maybe a follow-up just on Vet Connect and some of the prevalence maps and everything. There's a really good one too for pet parents. If you type in dogsandticks.com, it's a website powered by IDEXX. It's called Pet Health Network, but it's not all just IDEXX material. There's a lot of things on here, papers from other people.
Oh yeah, that's the one you sent me. Okay.
Yeah, and it's got the prevalence map on it and everything too. But there's a lot of really good stuff on here.
And it does have the link between the tick disease and kidney disease.
Yeah. And
don't just take our word for it, man.
Yep, it's out there. And then one of the other ones I really like is DVM 360.
Yes.
Everybody who knows Dr. Susan Little from OSU.
Yeah. She taught me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back in the
She's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, DVM 360 and look for Dr. Susan Little. She does a really good job
she's
about
not only like a brilliant doctor, but she's a great teacher.
She's fantastic.
Yeah. So she's really easy to learn from and you can get some really great information.
Have you ever seen her wear the sweater covered in ticks?
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
She'll pull that out every once in a while.
That's awesome. I would if I were her. Yeah. I can't do ticks, man. It's like they're my Achilles heel of veterinary medicine.
The tick with the ick.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you. I'll pass on that. On the working with ticks on purpose thing. Okay, cool. So do you want to go over resources again? Is there any other resources you want to throw out there? Or you want to repeat websites or what?
Yeah, sure. So obviously Companion Animal Parasite Council, so capcvet.org. And then dogsandticks.com, which will take you to the Pet Health Network. And then DVM 360, there's tons of videos. There's advertisements from different companies about different products. If it's something you feel would be a good fit for your pet, obviously talk to your veterinarian about it.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody kind of has their own little take on it, but we're here to help however we can. I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else? Any shout outs you want to make?
Oh my!
You got a funny dog or cat joke?
Your whole team,
my whole team,
rock stars, the tornado. Man. That was just whew.
Thanks. Yeah, they're outstanding group of people. I'm so lucky that we have the team we have.
Yeah,
it allows me to do things like sit here for 30 minutes and chat with you.
Well, it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks for you just one day Missy walks in and is like, I want to be on your podcast, and I was like, done. And she's like, oh wait,
I got scared.
No, done. I was done.
Scared. I got scared. I sent you the Kermit the Frog, chewing on his fingers.
Yes.
I think I'm scared.
And then I sent you the gift that says, I think you're brave.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I did have to bribe her to bring Max to work today.
Yeah. I can't tell you, like every conversation we had about this podcast coming up ended with, and I need Max.
I need him there for support.
Yes. So he couldn't be in the recording room with us because he's very noisy, but he's out there living his best life in Bethany's office right now, I think socializing with Bethany's dog.
Awesome. So. Well, thanks to you.
Yeah, come back again.
You make my job easy.
Oh, same girl, same. All right, we'll see y'all later. Bye.